guys, how you doing? This is Sean Woods, the City of Coaches podcast. I got a special guest today, Coach Derek Freeman here at Santan Charter School out here in, it's considered Gilbert, right?
Yep.
Gilbert, Arizona. What let me tell you about Phoenix area. It's like a Bernopolis, man. It's just really huge. There's a lot of schools popping up. And this young man beside me just won him a state championship. So congrats to you, Coach, there.
Thank you.
All right. Coach Freeman is actually from Philadelphia, correct?
Yep.
From Philadelphia. You went to school?
At George Washington Carver of Engineering and Science High School.
So, like high school, yeah. I like that.
Shout out Pegasus. Our mascot really was a Pegasus.
What was it like going to that school, though? Because, like, Philly, I hear is really, you know, some hustle and bustle over there.
Well, it's that school, I don't know if they moved or not. It's been a while since I've been back, but it's right down the street from Temple University, so tough neighborhood, but really good school. It's a magnet school. So
it's a magnet school, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of struggled with my 9th and 10th grade year, just adjusting to the higher level of education. And yeah, it was a tough school to go to, but I mean, it was no regrets at all about it.
That's cool. So what happened now? So you graduated from high school. Where did you head down to after that?
So I was enlisted in the U.S. Air Force for 4 years.
So I appreciate your service. Yeah,
thank you. And I was at Kirtland Air Force Base, Albuquerque, New Mexico, for the majority of that time. But I've been all over in the U.S. I was TDY everywhere. I've been to just about every Air Force base in the U.S., man. And the majority of that because it was because basketball couldn't get away from me.
Right. You just love the game. Yeah, because we actually, when I was coaching college, we would schedule one of the Air Force bases to play against us. That was like scrimmage. They was shoot too. I'm like, man, it was one cat. We played him 2 years in a row. He was like 7-1. I said, what are you doing around there? And then I see you, so I'm like, oh, well, maybe just tall people are on the Air Force. Don't stereotype. Air Force is tall, small, everybody. So it's welcome into everyone. Appreciate your service there. Now, I looked you up a little bit. So you spent time in New Mexico Highland?
Yeah.
Is that a D2, right?
Yep,
D2
that's the Division II.
How was that experience over there?
Man, unforgettable, man. I still talk to the majority of my teammates. I mean, Coach Harge. I talked to Coach Harge before the state title game, and actually before the playoffs. He gave me a lot of great advice, gave me a lot of great ways to motivate my kids, keep them engaged, keep them the best piece of information he gave me is said, don't let the moment be bigger than the kids. Remember to tell them to go out there and be themselves, because that was enough. I mean, they'd been themselves for the whole year, and they played great ball the whole year. So he just told me to make sure they were themselves and just keep them even keeled.
That's good that you're able to reach back to some of your old coaches who pretty much kind of mold you into probably thinking about being a coach. Because this night and day from the players. You can see you've been on both sides. It's night and day. And a lot of phenomenal players don't understand that. And they don't see the sacrifices you make in those type of situations, you know. Like I said, again, congrats with the state championship. Now, how many years you been coaching at the high school level?
This will be my official 4th year.
So 4th year coaching, and how many years at this school?
This has been my 4th year.
Oh, so you've been at this school, okay.
Yeah,
so you built the school, you built it, but you know that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was the assistant coach on our previous 2 championships. Jay Gonzalez, he was my predecessor, and he was a great role model for me as well, too. Showed me, I mean, he made me fall in love with it again, because I was coaching before this. I was just doing a lot of AAU before this. You know how AAU is, man, and how like some crummy organizations can be with AAU, and they can make the game a turnoff for you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely without question. You know, AAU is definitely, it's not a field I've been a part of, but I've gotten kids from that. And then, you know, you can lose players sometimes, and you can gain players as well.
Right.
But it's kind of where the game's going now, unfortunately. But I watched some of your film the other day. Actually, you know, when I hear about a coach, I want to know about a coach. I look into a coach. Who is this coach, right? So I look at some of your film, and I see some of the schemes that you ran and stuff like that. So you've been here 4 years. This is your 2nd year as the head coach. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. The first year. What is some of the turnaround from the first year here, and then this year that you just passed?
Well, a lot of the turnaround was me actually listening. I did a lot of dictating last year. I did a lot of my way or the highway last year, and like I forgot how I felt as a player in those certain situations. Like and like you want to be able to like have fun at the same time. Like it shouldn't, like especially for high school kids, it can't be a job. It can't be like they have to feel comfortable.
Right.
And like last year, I made the mistake of like just making it more militant instead of like being like the coach, as well as like just listening to my guys and listening to their needs, and like just properly developing them that way. So, like,
But see, Coach, this is the point where don't get down on yourself with that, because, like, you have to establish yourself that first year. Kids gonna take it. Oh, yeah, he's soft. You take it. That first year, that's why schools got to give coaches at least another chance. That first year, you're gonna have to stretch your rules, because kids going, oh yeah, especially if you're taking over a regime. They're like, oh yeah, since coach not a head coach, who cares?
Right.
So you got to establish some of your rules and your boundaries, and then obviously it seemed to work because, like you said, you have a transition. You set your boundaries, you said where you were, you set your rules, and guess what? You got a second year, and you made the best out of it. So going to the first game of the season, right? This is why I call memory lane in some of my skits. First game of the season, this season. What did you think your outcome was going to be at the end of the year?
well, I was thinking at the end of the year, honestly, I wasn't looking at that because, I mean, as a player, as a coach, as just everything part of the game, I always take it one at a time. And I mean, but I definitely had the goal of championship. I definitely had the goal of like just the best possible outcome for the boys. But like, I mean, I was just looking at the one game, like, all right, just got to break down every just play. I mean, not every play, but like just every like just I would say I don't.
It's just assessing every part of the game. So I see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Definitely that first. It could be jitters the first game of the season.
And
Like,
it
yo,
was. I'll be honest. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, like it was like I didn't. You never know how things are going to turn out. You don't know how the guys really bonded and really gelled during conditioning, because our condition is really strenuous.
And you got the military and college background, so it's.
Yeah.
But you know what? You put him in shape, stuff like that. I mean, it's gonna, like I said, I was looking at your schedule and stuff like that. What are some of the schemes that you look forward to progress in? I'll say in the Arizona, Phoenix area. How you want to make sure your program, the program, any kid that's involved in your program, what would probably show that you're different than other coaches? I
want to show them that, I mean, well, I see in every AIA program or even CAA, like, I mean, it just seems like the pace. I want to get it to a higher pace to where they can really showcase that Arizona guys can play. You know, Arizona guys, they're athletic and they're free throw, and like they don't have to like just come down. I don't want to say robots.
Yeah,
I don't want to say like that they're programmed or anything like that. But I want to like just show that they can get out and like just put up points. You know, and play at a pace to where it's exciting. Like it's not a 30 to 40 point outcome or anything like that.
Hold the ball.
Yeah, and like, I've seen a couple of games this year where it was just like, it's no reason to be holding the ball. Like, put some pressure on these guys. Let's see if they can really play, and like, let's get the right type of exposure out for these players.
That's
you
good.
know, I understand some guys got their systems to where, you know, they're comfortable at, but like, that's not for me. And that's not for any kid that wants to be a part of my program.
Now, I had to ask you this raw question. So I know in the AIA, because I did coach 1 year at AIA, there's a rule that if you're down by so many points in the fourth quarter, it's a running clock the rest of the game. Is it the same as CAA?
Yes, 30 points.
So how you feel about that? I think that's why some of the coaches burn the clock down too, because of the fact that they know if they're up by certain points, the clock is not going to stop.
Right.
You know, coming from the East Coast, you don't have that.
No.
Right. So I guess it was more monitored to certain skill levels. Maybe they wanted 70 to 10 games or something like that.
Right.
So have you had any challenging experiences being down by that much?
Yeah, I've been on both ends of it. Like, I mean, especially when I first started off coaching, like, it teaches the players a lesson. Like, I mean, I think the running clock, I'm not a big fan of it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Because you don't really get to come back.
Right.
right? And some good teams have good fourth quarter. You know, it's not how you finish, it's how you end.
Right, exactly, exactly. So
So you have that. So you have like up and down the speed. Do you pressure a little bit? Like
a lot.
Okay. I'm not gonna ask you your personal schemes like you know, 1, 2, 2 and like that. But I'm saying so you do pressure a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
we predicate, the program is predicated on exposing weaknesses and making people uncomfortable and like just and part of that I'm hoping it makes the league better. I mean, because like these guys, like, you know, when you coach at the next level or when you even play at the next level, like, you got to be ready for that.
Every day.
You have
you gotta be ready because, like, oh no, and it's man all the way through too. So like, and full court man too. You better know what you're doing. You know what I mean? They're pretty much like that. You have that feeling, like, say you have that spark, and I see like you just love the game. Like you just look like you just love coaching. And I've been there. I tell you all the time. I'd be like, yo, it's just something I get up and I breathe it. So why this school? Why did you start wanting to be on the part of the program and then take over?
Well, the way that I got involved with it was through my previous job. I was the marketing and sales director for Magic Pest Control, and I was selling the school pest control. Well, we already had the account, and they added on another part of the school, so I needed to talk to the facility manager, and that was Jay at the time. And we just clicked. Like, I mean, he said, "You look like you hooped," and like, yeah, I hooped, and we kind of had mutual friends, had a New Mexico connection, and had a lot of we had that same type of love for the game. And, you know, we just clicked from there. He's like, "Hey, man, you want to coach?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, like, it seems like I'll give it another try as long as it's not. I was really done with AAU at the time.
Hey, you know what? You're talking to someone who does not care about AAU. I know other people do, but I'm retired, so I can say what I was. No, I get it. No, but it can be frustrating and stuff like that, very stiff like that. In the school ball, you have a little bit more control, and you actually build a personal relationship because these are your guys, right? So you're a guy. So what type of guys do walk through your door, you know, here at the school? Like what type of personalities you may experience or like that? Because this is like a charter school, correct?
It is. So
yeah.
You get the kids that do live in the neighborhood. You get a lot of high GPA kids. You get a lot of kids that are really well mannered, respectable, want to learn, come in discipline. I mean, a lot of like you don't get the the inner city kind of feel of kids right away like that. I grew up in inner city public school and like just everything of that nature. So it's like a complete 180 from my experiences growing up to the kids that you get here. Like you get kids here that they'll listen to you from day one. So it's kind of nice.
And it translates into the court. So they're obviously the classroom IQ brings into the court IQ. So you're able to stimulate some of your plays, some organization skills. So it actually works for a really, really smart team, right? I remember I was coaching in the city, one of my first stops, and it was like, I was telling the kids, yeah, you guys are so talented, but you're getting beat by kids who just running through the system. So why not just try to run through the system and still use your talent?
Right.
And when that clicked with the kids, we turned their season around so quick. I was like, I know. And then, like I said, especially in today's era was highlight reel. I don't know how y'all do it with the highlight reel and stuff like that. And, they throw a 3 up and they just, they're celebrating before it even go in. So, kudos to you coaches that's dealing with that in today's market and stuff like that. But also, there's a tool because it promotes your program, it promotes the team. You get a lot of kids, especially with Arizona, because you have the CAA, then you have, but most of all those prep schools are part of the CAA, correct?
Yeah, a majority
like Hillcrest.
of them are. Hillcrest isn't.
Okay,
I think Hillcrest is like its own entity, but you got Compass, you have Bella Vista, you have all of their all their varsity teams. They do have a separate part of a national schedule as well too.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah,
that is so interesting that they actually have like a varsity team. Whose schools that like that? That was the Arizona Compass.
Yeah, Compass.
They have a varsity team. Then they have a national team.
New one, Dream City.
So you know what? It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. But interesting about the kids this year too. We have been able to like bring a couple of kids in like that are city kids, and they they came in and just did their thing as well too. Like not a whole bunch of disciplinary stuff. Not the stereotype that they're going to come in with issues. They were in a great environment, so we got great results.
It's a product of your environment. If you put a kid you put anyone in a good situation, and you show love, and the players show love with each other, and the teachers show love, and they support.
Yeah.
The kid's going to adapt regardless, and they're going to want to be smart, right? No kid wants to just not know anything. Kids want to learn every day. Learn if it's a step back or if it's in the classroom, such as like that.
Right. So I'm welcoming anybody. Anybody that wants to learn. It don't matter where you're from. City, suburbs, or just if you're in between. We're going to have one common goal here, and that's just to come together, play good ball, man.
You said you're going into the AIIA from the CAA. With NAIA is I would say the biggest entity in Arizona. That's collective schools have decided to be part of a program, something like that.
Right.
So what are some of the transitions that you may have to go through? I'm sure some meetings that you have to go through, such like that.
Right. Traveling's going to be a lot different.
Yeah, a lot of travel. I did that. We did 2-hour drive places and stuff like that on a bus.
Got to win those games.
60 miles per hour. Like, yeah, just go. It's good to see coaches still passionate about the game 100%. Like, that's the most exciting thing about all this is the fact that coaches are still passionate and still excited being part of the game.
Right.
Stuff like that. And the road runners, look, you're on a roll, right? Just like speaking of road runners, I remember when I first moved to Arizona, and I don't know why I had this big thing that road runners were like these huge, like animals and stuff like that, and they're like really just like these little bitty. So I was really confused.
I feel you. Cause when I came out here, I kind of did the same thing. Like I thought it was going to be here, and as soon as I came, it was going to just.
Like, what is that? We go all day about animals in Arizona, different from the East Coast. Yeah. So you meet a lot of people that live out here from the East Coast, stuff like that. You have moments where you do you miss some of the roughness, or do you like some of the spunk, or you just have it inside you and you just instill it in your players? Is that pretty much what you do?
I think, like you said, moments. It's definitely moments where you just dang, man, I missed the way things were back on the East Coast. But then you got moments where man, it's so spacious here. That's why I was so thankful for the school and the Air Force, and in the area that I was in, New Mexico. I needed that change of pace because the fast pace, it was kind of detrimental to my development at times. And
you're so expected to do so much that you really don't have time to really process things. I was like, when I came out here, I felt the same. I was like, that was pretty nice weather, but it's like, everybody's spacious. I could decide. I could develop myself more because you're always growing as a human being. It doesn't matter. Even as a coach, as a person, you're always developing, growing. Like Jim Boeheim, I just had a conversation with one of his players, and he was like, "Hey, coach been there for 41 years. You might have to be in at the Division I level at 41. I think my Krzyzewski is right behind him there, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are you plan to have a long legacy at the high school level, or are you focused on what's going on right now?"
Just definitely, it kind of depends on family. The family that I'm building, it's just definitely whatever is best for those four that I wake up with every morning. That's that's the way we're gonna go. But I love what I'm doing right now. Right down the street, live right down the street.
Oh,
so
nice. It's a good setup.
Yeah. So it'd be hard for me to just get up and do something different, but. As long as everything's going the way that it's going, and I'm still the message is still the same, and I'm helping young men, and I'm helping and I'm still able to see my family grow at the same time. I'm okay with it.
That's good. So the off season's here.
Yeah.
Got your championship. You're very proud about that thing, man. That's a blessing. 100%. That's a blessing. Off season here. So what does the next couple of months look like? I'm going to go all the way into the preseason, so get ready for me.
Right.
Sorry. So, obviously, the kids are finishing up the school year, and the cool thing about Arizona is they can go all year long. Is that correct? Yeah.
Right.
So what are some of the spring situation you may get the kids into?
Well, I had an exit meeting with the majority of my kids on Friday. So, I gave them the option because we have spring break, not this week, but next week coming up. And I gave them the option of we could take this next week off, and we can roll in the spring break, and then we can get back to work right after. But majority of those guys are like, nope, 7 a.m. Monday. Let's get back in the gym.
Get going.
Not just like, well, I got the keys. We'll get back on
The
tomorrow
train
morning.
going, right? You feel like it's professionals out here. You just keep the train going.
Yeah,
Like
man.
some of the summer, not summer. I'm still in spring. What's it called? Spring leagues and stuff like that. You guys do those and stuff like that.
Yeah, so majority of my guys are going to be playing club, and I know this video I kind of acted like I'm just completely out of club. I'm going to try it again this year. We had
It keeps you still involved.
right.
Like I said, if you were retired, it'd be different. But you're still involved. You got it. You have to. It's like one of those
Yeah.
things you have to adapt, right? Like for me, like I had to get used to kids wanting to shoot threes.
Yeah.
Right? My game is inside out. Now it's outside in almost. So you have to adapt. So being part of the AAU game. So yeah, continue, coach. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. But I'm going to work with some 15 and 16-year-olds, get them club ready this year, and I'm going to give it another shot. And like I'm working with a more professional organization, and it's just going to give it a try. So that's what we're going to do for spring. For June, I have them for June ball again. So we're looking at, of course, Section 7. Looking at hopefully a couple of universities, in-state and out-of-state. We're gonna go to, and we're gonna just give them the college feel of like playing on that that college court, and we're going to hopefully do some local. This stuff that the local prospects camps or prospect
Like little mini
tournaments.
tournaments, stuff like that.
Yeah, where public schools just kind of get in. We did one last year, the Best in Basketball. Greg Rosenberg ran a great
How many
tournament
games?
last
Was it
year.
7 games?
It was we had a guaranteed 4.
Guaranteed 4.
But yeah, we
Also, it
played-
was a tournament. It wasn't a league.
No, it was more of a showcase, but we
Okay,
played all 5 and 6A teams, and that's what we need. So
fun.
hopefully we can do something like that again.
Especially if you bust them something around a little bit. You know what, we can get down with this 6A. I'll put you on the schedule. Hey,
Yeah.
We had the Copper Canyon, and I was a 3A coach. So yeah, we gave him a little work too. So I know what it means. Sometimes you need it grease you up a little bit. I really feel like the talent is in the 2, 3, 4 more so.
Right.
In my experience, in my 1 year, I did coach in here in Arizona. But let's see that. So the spring come, you got June ball. So the kids, what's the break? I know you probably give them a little bit of break somewhere in July. It's hot.
Yeah.
It's like 120 degrees.
Yeah, like in
Stuff like that.
between that July and like August when you're getting ready to come back for school. Want to make sure they have their legs because conditioning through late July up into the season is for real. It's for real for those guys. So that's when they definitely get their legs back. And it's important for these guys to get their legs back, man. A lot of these kids, they still want to work and go the extra mile, but like you got to educate them on taking care of their bodies as well too.
And you how you have it. Honestly, coach, I stopped for a minute because I wanted to really see you interact with the kids and stuff like that. You got a player back here working those a little bit. And I've seen it in the communication. Because for me, like I have to reading people because a player's coach is very important, right?
Yeah.
I was once a player coach turned into a coach because college you get a little bit more serious, but like the high school level you actually can be a player's coach, right? You actually can build that personal relationship. It's never really business, really. It's more relationship, and that's always good. So I seen you have that 100%, coach. I'm excited to see you develop more and your program grow. And people sleeping on that CAA, even though they're leaving. They got some good schools coming out there, coming into that AIA. For real, I seen that. Out there, you got to play at the talk. I was just there last night, the Suns game. You got to play at Talking Stick Arena and stuff like that. So how was that experience for some of the kids
Man.
to be on that court that they always see on TV or see, just growing up, going to go watch?
They'll have those highlights forever, man. I credit all those guys all the media who came out and just gave them, that piece of information that they can have forever. So, I mean, that's something I really appreciate. But yeah, for the kids, man, just to play on that court and just to get it down, up and down, get the feel, get a victory out there. And even for the guys who didn't play, I had a lot of JV kids that just dressed and sat on the sideline.
Just being right there, yeah.
Yep, got to go in the locker room and all that stuff with us, and man, you know, it was special for them. A lot of our younger middle school kids, they had their own section, and they were, you know, the courtside. It's crazy. Like after the game, I mean, that next day I watched the Suns and the Clippers courtside. That's my first time being courtside. So
Right, yeah.
I wonder if it felt like that for them, kind of. But like, yeah, it's surreal, man. Like it's a special moment, and like I'm hoping. I know they have to feel some type of way
Yeah,
about it.
definitely. That's good. I mean, but like I said, we move on bigger and better things with that. You know what I'm saying? I'd ask you some personal questions about basketball. So growing up, you play basketball, and who were some of the players in the NBA that you try to develop where you look like you develop your game towards after?
So we talked about Syracuse earlier. The local guy, Hakeem Ward.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, man, he was the truth. He was from the Philly area, so I mean, like he was somebody who really looked up to. My brother, he played he played some college ball. I looked up to him. DeJuan Wagner, of course.
Oh, D-Wag? Okay.
Yeah, DeJuan Wagner, man. Of course, AI. You know, everybody.
Philly boy.
He changed the game, man. You know,
I was saying, like, I was wondering, I never knew anyone basketball-wise who actually, like, was around, like, the AI era and stuff like that. Like, he put on for the city a lot.
Right.
He just made, you know, he made everything possible. Like, and, you know, hopefully Philly do well. Who's your NBA team now?
Oh, the Sixers.
Still Sixers, huh?
Still the Sixers.
You know,
Yeah.
Joe and B, man, I don't know. They gonna get it together. They got all that talent, man.
Yeah,
They, you know, I don't know what's going on over there.
they
something like
just,
that.
I mean, maybe this new core needs a little bit more time to gel. I mean, they might shock some folks in the playoffs, but
Maybe so. I mean, playoffs is the most important thing. That's how you turn it all around. The same thing when you get to the state tournament as a high school coach.
right.
You know, it doesn't, you know, as long as you get in, everybody got a chance. It's 50-50 at that point. You never see you excluded that, Coach. I definitely want to appreciate the opportunity to interview with you.
Definitely.
I'm looking forward to see you and your program and grow wherever you may be. I'm sure we'll have more conversations with each other throughout this process of you coaching. It sounds like you have a good situation going on. Congratulations with the state championship. And I look forward to see Coach Freeman and the squad get going. Coach, appreciate the opportunity to interview with
Come
you.
to realize is that the goal that he set out initially of becoming the greatest of all time was a very fickle one. And we realized that the most important thing in life is how your career moves and touches those around you and how it carries forward to the next generation. But he realized that's what makes true greatness. If I had the power to turn back time, I would never use it. I don't think about it. Because then every moment that you go through means absolutely nothing, but you can always go back and do it again. So it loses its flavor, it loses its beauty when things are final.